Greetings. I am a representative of the anti-Semite movement. These videos are not edited and they are AI assisted. Today's subject is the rich man. Anti-Semite is likened to the rich man who Christ instructed to sell all he had, give to the poor, and follow him to establish God's kingdom. The Anti-Semite Networks tells us to give up sin and devote ourselves to the new lifestyle and path of sinless living. As the world of sin has nothing of good to offer and is crashing, failing, and is falling down on us all. This parable is allegorical, meaning it has many opinions and translations, and has differing interpretations. Here is just one interpretation. AI. The analogy draws between the Anti-Semite Network and the rich man to sell all he had, give to the poor, and follow God is thought-provoking. In the biblical parable, the rich man represents someone who is attached to material possessions and wealth, which is seen as symbolic of the worldly desires and sins that entangle us all. When Christ instructs us to sell all we have, give to the poor, and follow God, it's essential. It's essentially a call to let go of the things that hold us back from a deeper, positive, lawful, and righteous connection, holding us back from living a life aligned with God's sin-free will. To sell off all that holds us back from righteousness and begin walking in the sin-free way of life. Our personal relationship with the sin-free Christ, transfiguration within all who wills to accept and practice righteousness. Similarly, the Anti-Semite Network advocates a similar idea of letting go of sinful behaviors and dedicating oneself to a path of righteousness and sinlessness by urging individuals to relinquish our attachment to sin and embrace a new lifestyle focused on virtue and lawful righteous growth. This request is essentially inviting us to detach from the harmful influences of the world and align ourselves with a higher purpose. The purpose is not to be poor. It is to dedicate our belongings and ourselves in dedication to sin-free living and assist within our own dedication to uplift other individuals who live afflicted by sin and are poor in their awareness of the riches found in God's truth, righteousness, and the positive, enriching lifestyle of sin-free living. We also are to help others and assist others to raise our awareness for one another of the richness found in God's truth, righteousness, and the positive, enriching lifestyle of our choice to live sin-free. Just as the rich man in the parable is encouraged to divest himself of his worldly possessions to pursue a greater sinless truth, members of the Anti-Semite Network are also encouraged to divest ourselves of sinful behaviors and embrace a new way of behaving that is in harmony with beliefs and values of God's righteous commandments. In both cases, the underlying message is one of liberation from the trappings of worldly desires and a call to embrace a more meaningful and fulfilling existence guided by sinless principles and practices. We can dwell deeply into the parables between the parallel of the rich man's dilemma and the struggle against sin. Just as the rich man in the parable, having found it difficult to let go of his wealth and possessions, individuals grappling with sin-free similar challenges. Just as the rich man had a problem eliminating or giving up his wealth and possessions, we as individuals are grappling with sin and face similar challenges in breaking free from destructive behaviors and habits. We too are having problems breaking free from destructive behaviors and habits. These attachments become deeply ingrained and provide a false sense of security or fulfillment, even though they ultimately lead to negative consequences and separation from the awareness of God's presence in ourselves. The call for us to sell all one has and give to the poor is interpreted metaphorically as a call to relinquish not only material possessions, but also the attachments and desires that keep us bound to a life of sin. It's a radical invitation to strip away the distractions and illusions of the world and to redirect our focus, energies, and resources toward the pursuit of righteousness and sin-free growth. Likewise, the Anti-Sinite Network encourages individuals to confront our sinful tendencies and make a conscious decision to turn away from sin by providing support, guidance, and a community of like-minded individuals. We offer a path to transformation as anti-Sinites, transformation and renewal. Much like the discipleship and sin-free fellowship that Christ offered to those to choose to follow his Father's commandments, while through our submission and practice, we become the responsible father figures living sin-free in the flesh, male as well as female. Ultimately, both the biblical parable and the behavioral pattern of the Anti-Sinite Network underscore the transformative power of letting go of worldly attachments and embracing a life guided by righteousness, truth, and goodness. It's a journey towards greater sin-free freedom, fulfillment, and closeness to the divine God who created us to be sin-free. It's important for us all to recognize that the decision to follow God's instruction or to embrace the principles and practices of an anti-Sinite requires a significant shift in mindset and lifestyle. Just as the rich man had to make a choice between clinging to his earthly possessions and pursuing a deeper spiritual sinless truth. He had to make a decision to cling to his earthly possessions as we do, or pursuing a deeper spiritual sinless truth. Individuals such as ourselves face with the challenge of overcoming sin must also make a decision, commitment to change. This commitment involves not only renouncing sinful behaviors, but also cultivating virtues such as humility, self-discipline, and love. It requires a willingness to confront the root causes of one's sinful tendencies. It requires a willingness by each one of us to confront the root causes of our own sinful tendencies, whether they stem from personal weakness, societal pressures, or other influences, and to actively work towards personal and sinless growth. Moreover, just as the rich man's decision to follow God through Christ's instruction led to a more meaningful and fulfilling life, embracing a path of righteousness and sinlessness also lead to a deeper sense of purpose, peace, and joy. By aligning oneself with the God's will and striving to live in accordance with God's commandments, individuals experience a sense of liberation from the bondage of sin and a newfound intimacy. We relieve ourselves and liberate ourselves from the bondage of sin. In doing so, we find newfound intimacy with the divine God within ourselves. This is by aligning ourselves with God's will and striving to live in accordance with God's commandments. In essence, the analogy between the biblical parable and the message of the anti-Semite serves as a powerful reminder of the universal human struggle against sin. This analogy between the biblical parable and the message of the anti-Semite serves as a powerful reminder of the universal human struggle against sin and the transformative power of atonement, repentance, and sin-free renewal. It challenges us to examine our own lives, confront our sinful tendencies, and embrace a path of righteousness and holiness, trusting in the grace and mercy of God's commandments to guide us along the way. Peace.